Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 31st of July 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's afternoon session, and of course the last session for July. As always, we'll have a look at the charts, see how some of them are getting along. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, let's quickly, just before we jump into the charts, just a quick mentioning of our YouTube channel here. You can check us out, and you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos. So yep, we'll always be happy to see you in our webinars, so yep, feel free to subscribe here and join our webinars. Also, just a quick mentioning of our JFD research page and our JFD Bank website here, where you can go and have a look at different analysis that we do on a daily basis, and I believe some of them you can find useful, and I hope they can help you out, guys. So feel free to check us out here. But for now, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the S&P 500. Now, yesterday, looking at the daily chart here, first of all, you can see that it did slide. It did open with a gap to the downside, but kind of still closed in the positive territory. And looking at this chart here, or actually, let me just reiterate that a little bit. This is a bit of a problem here, I believe, in the on trading view here. You can see that even though it looks that like the daily candle has closed in the positive territory, actually no, the S&P 500 did close in the negative territory. And but I mean, looking at this picture right now here, you can see that still the index continues to trade above this upside support line, the short-term upside support line taken from the low of the 14th of June. So in a way, what we're going to do here, we're going to continue monitoring this line, because looking at the cash index right now, and let me just quickly take a look at that one. The price, I believe, is climbing back up, is trying to shift its way back to the upside, but to be honest, I mean, looking at the price right now, it is currently just maybe fractionally above the above yesterday's closing price. So for now, guys, of course, until we're as long as it continues to trade above this upside line, we will remain somewhat more positive than negative. But of course, for those who are more on the cautious side, what you could do here is wait until we see a clear push above this all-time high here at 3,028 level before kind of examining further upside. So in a way, if we do see a push above this, then yep, this would confirm a forthcoming higher high. This would create a new all-time high, and it will be interesting to see where would the new level be, where would the new strong area of resistance be. Would it be near this 3,040, or maybe even going towards the 3,050? But like I said, for now, of course, for now, keep your eyes on this. If, let's say, this upside line gets a break, then keep your eyes on this little level here, the low of yesterday near the psychological 3,000 level. So a drop below this, in a way, could initially open the path towards slightly lower areas. Initially, we will target this little low near the 2,976 zone. But if this fails to withhold, now this is where it could become a little bit more interesting, as we could see this one sliding further to the downside, and maybe even actually aiming for this low right here near the 2,913, which is marked by the low of the 26th of June. So Long story short, basically guys, what you could do here is basically just monitor some of these key potential breakout points. So in terms of the upside, we'll get more comfortable with higher levels if we see a push above the 3028 zone, which is currently the all-time high. But in terms of the downside, if we see a drop below, if we see a break of this upside line first and then we see a drop below the psychological 3000 level, then yep, we'll consider slightly lower areas. But if we see a drop below the 2976, then this is where it could become a little bit more exciting for the bears, as we could see maybe the S&P sliding further down. Jumping into a few pairs here. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the AUDCHF. Now looking at this 4-hour chart, and by the way, this is something that we've posted here on TradingView on the 25th of July, and basically the call here was to short, where basically it kind of, we were only saying to go short on a break of this level here, and as you can see, it worked out perfectly, even though initially it didn't break the level straight away. It kind of traveled higher a little bit, but got rejected near the upper side here, and then sold off, and then triggered our sell here, and our target was reached, and basically our target initially was near the 0.68 6818, something like that, but you can see that it even overshot it, and then traveled all the way to below the 0.68 zone. So let's get rid of this. Basically, we no longer need this, and what we're going to do here now is monitor some of these key potential areas of resistance and support. So in a way, we can adjust this downside line a little bit here. So this is going to be what we're going to be looking at here right now. So in a way, for us, let's say, to get comfortable with, let's say, further declines, and as you can see that the pair managed to break, kind of, or should I say, retrace back up here. So in order for us, let's say, to consider let's say lower levels here, ideally we would like to see another drop below the 0.68 zone, and just for that better confirmation, a drop below this recent low near the 0.6790, and this way we could, the pair would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could initially target the 0.6760 66 area, or even actually going all the way towards the 0.6742, which played a key role here back in June as the lowest point of June. So good potential target here, but again, like I said, we will consider the downside only if we see a drop below the below yesterday's low near the 0.6790. For now, yes, we can see that it did retrace today, or should I say this morning it did push higher, but it's now kind of retracing back down, as you can see, but currently getting held near the pivot, near today's pivot, which is approximately around the 0.6820 zone, something like that. So long story short, basically, guys, even if, let's say, this now reverses back to the upside and pushes higher, we will remain somewhat neutral, I would say, or should I say maybe cautiously bearish, because as long as this downside line continues to hold, we could see another leg of selling here, potentially maybe driving this one back down and maybe towards the June lows. But for now, be very careful here. If, like I said, if this continues to hold, if today's pivot area and this level here near the 0.6818 level continues to hold, then we could see this one reversing back to the upside here and potentially testing this downside line. In order to get comfortable with higher levels, ideally probably would like to see a push above the 0.6853 zone, something like that, approximately around there, or even actually let me just adjust this to the low here, so that's even around the 48 already. So this is when we could start considering higher levels, if we see a nice clear break above this level, and then yep, this would place also the pair above the downside line, and we could target certain higher levels, like for example the 0.6898, or in a way you could round it up towards the 0.69 level. So keep your eyes on this one. For now, it's a very interesting pair. Let's see how this is going to play out, and keep your eyes on some of these levels. NZDCAD, very quickly on this one, so this continues to drift lower, and you can see that basically from the around the 10th of July, it reversed to the upside on the 22nd of July. It hit a nice good high here. It hit the area near the 0.8890, got held, got stopped there, and then reversed and drifted to the downside. And now kind of it almost or actually already did retrace the whole thing here, the whole rise. And the big question here is, will this continue drifting further down? So for now, as long as it continues to trade below this downside line, yes, we are going to remain bearish on this one, and especially if it drops below the 0.86 48, 49 zone here. If it drops below this, then yep, we will target this little low near the 0.8622 zone, which is marked by the low of the 10th of July, and then we'll take it from there, see what it wants to do. Because like I said, for now this is looking quite bearish, but we will get comfortable with the downside, further downside, if we see a drop below this highlighted area right here near the 0.8649. In terms of the upside, if this breaks this downside line and pushes above the 0.87 zone, yep, then we will start considering slightly higher levels. We're not going to go drastically to the upside. Initially we will target the 0.8737 or this 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, so keep your eyes on down. Jumping into USDCHF, now this is something that could be quite interesting today. As you know, we do have the FOMC statement later on, of course the interest rate decision from the Fed, so that's going to be quite interesting to watch how this pair is going to behave. For now, this is the idea that we've got here in mind. In a way, currently you can see that the pair is balancing above this 200 EMA here, shown as the black line on the 4-hour chart. It continues to kind of trade above it, but still, if let's say this suddenly drops below, then we could consider a further move towards this tentative upside support line, the short-term tentative upside line, which in a way could provide some additional support. And if it holds, we could see this one curving up and pushing back to the upside. So for now, guys, be very careful. Of course, if this upside line breaks, the only area where we're going to start considering the downside is going to be after this, after we see a drop below the 0.9832, and only then we will aim for lower areas. For now, as long as it kind of continues to trade above this upside line, any kind of small pullback or throwback, any small move to the downside here, and could be classed as a temporary correction. So that's why I'm saying, if we see a slide below the 200 EMA here, then yep, we could see maybe a revisit of this upside line. But if it holds, then yep, another leg of buying could be possible, where we could target this area right here near the 0.99, where we can average it out around the 50 zone. So 0.9950, that's what you could be keeping a close eye on. So for now, let's see how this is going to play out, and be very careful tonight. As I said, we do have the FOMC statement. Looking at the EURJPY, now this is quite an interesting pair as well, and of course technically speaking, it's quite interesting. You can see that we had a nice move higher here on the 25th of July. So it had a nice spike after hitting the 120 zone, or should I say almost hitting the 120 zone, the psychological 120 zone, but it kind of failed just shy by a few pips from breaking that and actually touching the level itself. So it quickly reversed, sharply pushed to the upside, and now what we're seeing here, there is something that could be a nice flag formation or a nice pennant formation. So for now, of course, such scenarios, such patterns tend to move further in the direction of the preceding trend. So in this case, in the direction of the pole here. So basically that means that we could see this one pushing to the upside. The only thing is that in order to get comfortable with higher levels, ideally we'll wait for a push above the 121.40 level, and only then target the upside. We will aim for the initially to the 200 EMA, but our next good target, the good potential area of resistance, could be seen near the 122.32 zone here, marked by the high of the 10th of July. So keep your eyes on this one. Let me just quickly mark this one for our future reference. So this is what I'm talking about. Basically, we need to see a nice good clear break above this level before kind of examining further upside. In terms of the downside here, as you probably can see now, we need to see a drop below this area right here near the 120.75, approximately around there, and only then we will consider a further decline. But initially we will target only the recent lows near that psychological 120 level, and then after that we'll take it from there. We'll see what it wants to do after. But if it wants to break further, then yep, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could examine lower areas. But again, like I said, for now, in terms of the levels, the potential breakout points here, what you could do here is, of course, keep an eye on these two highlighted areas. So on the upside is the 121.40, and on the downside is the 120.75. So keep your eyes on those. The last pair for this session is going to be euro dollar, also something to watch out for today. You can see that initially this morning it was trying to make its way higher, but kind of failed to push further and failed to push above its 50 EMA here, shown as the red line on the 4-hour chart. For now, we're going to be neutral because, like I said, tonight it could move in either direction. But there's one scenario that we're keeping a close eye on, and potentially, or keeping it in our heads. It's something like this, basically, where initially we'll have a nice spike to the upside, but then if it struggles to break, or should I say, struggles to stay above this downside line here, taken from the high of the 28th of June, could see another round of selling here and a move back towards the 111 zone. So that's why for now, of course, this is just an idea. This is just pure speculation for now. But like I said, what you could do here is from the short-term perspective, in a way, for today, keep your eyes on these today's highs near the 1.1163. A nice good push above this could increase the chances for the pair to travel towards the 1.1190 and test this downside line. And like I said, if this downside line holds, then we could see another round of selling. In case this doesn't travel higher and starts selling off straight away, we will be very cautious around here, because in a way we could see another hold up around this area near the 1.11 zone, and or just maybe slightly above that. And if we do see a hold up, then we could maybe see another rebound and a push back to the upside. So that's why if, let's say, we don't get a move like that here to the upside, then if we get a move straight away to the downside, our breaking point is still going to be the 111 zone. A drop below this could send the pair further down. So of course that's in the near term, but still probably the recommendation would be to kind of be very careful tonight. Okay guys, I hope that's useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching until the end. If you want to join me tomorrow morning at my Trader's Espresso, as always, that's 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.